Hello, Camille here from the Drum Cabinet in Brighton today. Today we've got Jason from Roland with us. We're going to have a look at the TM-2 module and the new RT30 triggers. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. Very happy to be here today.
Cool.
We have the TM-2 module and the RT30 triggers. They are part of our kind of hybrid range. And something, it's one of those things where hybrid, not a lot of people or drummers really kind of know the concept of it. So at the start, we're going to talk a little bit about the actual concept of hybrid. So within hybrid, the reason why behind it is because we had a lot of acoustic drummers that wanted to implement electronic sounds within their drum kit. Mm-hmm. And you could do that before, but having these products now makes it so much easier and so much fun as well. With the TM2 module, you can put in your own sounds. So if you're in a function band, mm-hmm. or or you just want to use your own sounds with your acoustic kit, you can do that with a little SD card slot. Yeah. It does actually have its own sounds inbuilt in it as well, so you can use, and that covers percussion, the snare drum sounds, bass drum sounds, toms, so you can really go pretty crazy with it. Now with the RT30 triggers, we have the RT30K, the RT30HR and the RT30H. Obviously the K being the kick, obviously with the K. The HR being the head on the rim, so it's ideal for a snare drum, mm-hmm. because we can actually pick up both zones. So we can actually pick up the rim and the head in the centre. And the RT30H, which is actually designed for toms as well, or single zone, any sort of single zone snare drums, really gives us a lot of access, mm-hmm. to really go pretty crazy with hybrid. So that's kind of the concept to start off with. Now what we can do with that, we can basically expand, we can layer, and we can enhance our acoustic sounds. So with enhancing, we can add, say for instance, if we're using a 20-inch bass drum, we're actually using a 22 today, mm-hmm. but say for instance, if you really wanted to do, like if you're in a Led Zeppelin tribute band, but you haven't got a big enough car to have a 26-inch bass drum, what you can do is, you can then enhance your bass drum sound, mm-hmm. by adding another bass drum sound on top of it. So if you've got a smaller bass drum, it's quite clicky and quite punchy, you want to add a massive bass drum sound, you can do that straight away, and you can really go quite crazy with it. Snare drum wise, exactly the same, but with the layering, now the layering is really, really fun, because obviously you've got a normal acoustic kit sound, which is fine, but if you want to add a tambourine maybe to your snare drum, mm-hmm. It was impossible to play a tambourine and actually hit your snare drum at the same time. But you can do that with layering, and you can go full on with it because there's no limitations. You can add a bass drum sample to the bass drum. You can add a hand clap to your floor tom. Mm-hmm. And then with expanding, we're not just limited to using the triggers. We've got a whole range of pads on all of our V drums range. Mm-hmm. So a lot of bands really love the sub drop. It's the big sub drop. So you can have one of our pads just by the side, and you can use that by itself as well. So you're expanding your drum kit, mm-hmm. especially when it comes to percussion. I mean, trying to carry around a whole percussion rig and a drum kit. Yeah. If you've got a van, great, but if you haven't, it's virtually impossible. So being able to have some auxiliary pads plugging into the TM2 module, mm-hmm. picking your percussion sounds and having them directly there, makes it a lot easier and really fun.
Fantastic. Let's see what it sounds like then.
Definitely, yeah, we'll go for it. Right. So the first part we're going to look at is layering our acoustic sounds. So what you'll hear is, I'm going to do a demo of just the kit sound by itself first. And then what we're going to do is we're going to slowly introduce the affected sounds, the layering sounds that we're going to put on. So I've got quite a deep bass drum sound with the sample I'm using. The bass drum itself now is actually quite punchy, but I think just adding a little bit of a low-end bass drum sample will really help. And the snare drum for me is quite poppy as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add quite a deep-sounding snare drum as well, just so we can kind of get an idea of what we can do to enhance our actual kit sound to start off with. So yeah, this is it. So that was our layering sounds. what we're going to do is now we're going to add, go a little bit deeper into it. So on the bass drum, we've got an 808 bass drum sample from our very sort of, one of our biggest drum machines ever, the 808, and we've actually got a hand clap on the snare drum. So for DJs or someone playing along with a DJ or even dance bands, something like this kind of similar sound would work great. But just remember, this is coming from one TM-2 module and just one bass drum trigger and one snare drum trigger. So this is it.
Thank you for coming down, Jason. That sounded awesome. If you guys want to know anything more about the TM-2 or equally the RT30s, don't be shy to give Gak a call, and you can even come down to the store and try them out, see if you like them. Thanks a lot, Jason.
Not a problem. Thank you very much.
Cheers.